Everything they've built will fall. Are you excited about this movie, Terry?
I am. I'm totally excited. I've really liked most of the X-Men movies, and I'm glad that Bryan Singer is back to do another X-Men movie.
Me too. My hair's a mess. I recently rewatched all the X-Men movies, from the first X-Men to Origins to even the Wolverine. I actually just finished watching Days of Future Past, a movie that I love and kind of hate at the same time. Like, it's a good movie. I just don't think it's good storytelling to rewrite The Last Stand out of canon.
True.
But that was really the biggest problem I had with it. With this movie, it's gotten some mixed reviews, is it not?
Yeah, I think it has like a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's something. I mean, critics will always be divided, like when it's not a Marvel Studios movie, but...
Well, I mean, the last one had like 91%, which was pretty...
shit, seriously?
Yeah,
Days of Future Past?
Yeah, like, it was impressive. So, I don't know.
Apocalypse is my favorite mutant from the animated show from the 90s, I think it was, that I used to watch all the time on VHS when I was a kid. I've always wanted to see Apocalypse in a movie, and now we're finally here. But I'm carefully optimistic about this movie because, with the exception of Deadpool, the last Fox-owned superhero movie that I was like excited for and hopeful about was a movie I dare not say because it's fantastically shit. And they made it very clear on their promotion poster for that movie that it was made by the studio that brought them X-Men Days of Future Past.
I think it was like one producer. Like, it wasn't even really that. Yeah.
I hope this movie is great.
I hope so too.
It has like the potential to be amazing, even though every trailer's kind of the same.
It has the potential.
Shut the fuck up! No!
I'm sorry. I had to do that.
It has the potential, Reed, to tap into interdimensional travel. And my son is on fire. He had such potential. It's so bad. Rewatching these movies, I realized X1, or not X1, just X-Men is not perfect. X2's still my favorite. I love the shit out of that movie.
Especially the opening at the White House.
Yeah. Nightcrawler's in this movie.
Is he really?
Yeah, Nightcrawler's in it. You know, it's obviously, a younger guy,
Yeah.
but, Nightcrawler was my favorite in all the movies. I'm excited to see Psylocke. She's one of my favorites, and she looks pretty hot. Like, I used to have the biggest crush on Psylocke from the cartoon. And now seeing her on screen is amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing more of what James McAvoy has to offer as Professor X. I like him a lot. Michael Fassbender does an excellent Magneto, and I'm sure he'll be great. I'm looking forward to seeing the Horsemen. Like, I know that sounds weird, but they have like such a stellar X-Men cast, like, of characters to be them. Like just Angel, Psylocke, Magneto. Oh man, and Storm? Yeah, Storm looks cool from the trailers.
Mm-hmm. Didn't they get a younger Storm?
Yeah, all the characters, with the exception of Shing, is going to be like their younger counterparts, which I will touch on in a bit. Why I don't think I will like that. Hopefully, the movie proves me wrong, but I'm worried it's going to be a shoehorned in thing. I talked with Tarek about this, and we'll save it for like later in this video, about why a certain Shing should not be in this movie, or like at least huge man should not be. I'm trying to remain a spoiler for you right now, but like, yeah, obviously that one trailer spoiled, so I might as well just say, yeah, Hugh Jackman's in this movie. He's gonna do a Wolverine cameo.
Right.
But other than that, I don't really know what else to talk about it. It has potential. Bryan Singer's back on it. Coming off of Days of Future Past. I'm just looking forward to it.
Same here, man. Same here.
Oscar Isaacs has a lot of talent. I'm sure he'll be fine in this role as Apocalypse.
Oscar Isaac. He was Poe Dameron, right, in Star Wars?
I don't remember much about that movie, but he was the one fighter pilot that like got separated from the
Finn.
black guy.
Yeah, Poe Dameron.
Finn, is that what his name
Yeah.
is? Yeah, that was a movie I saw one time, and I'm like, I never need to see this again.
But I loved it, man. But I really like Star Wars, so that's probably why.
See, for me, I love me some X-Men. Like, we'll see in a bit.
Yep.
Well, we can agree that the third one is the worst.
The third one's always the worst.
Yeah. Wink, wink.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is a beautiful mess, I'd like to say.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I didn't think it was bad.
Mm-mm. Yeah, it's some really great moments.
Yeah, there are definitely really amazing cinematic moments in this movie that are worth the price of admission alone. And a lot of not so great moments that make you sit there trying to hold your piss in. I'm not gonna lie, there are definitely, especially near the end of the movie, I was like, is this going to end soon? I really have to pee.
I always hate those.
I always hate that. That sucks. But I don't think that's really the movie's fault. You know, God forbid I get a soda because it's like 1 a.m.
Right.
I think starting off, the movie was fine. I kind of laughed a little bit, and that sucks to say, but only because the beginning reminded me a lot of Gods of Egypt, which is how goofy, like, the apocalypse, like, tomb looked.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, all his statues and stuff, and then the riots and everything. It's just, I just wanted Gerard Butler to come up and be like, this is Egypt!
This is Gods of Egypt. That's my movie.
Yeah.
And everyone hated my movie.
Come, David! But starting off, it was actually pretty cool. It was pretty, like, actually kind of gory. Like, there's definitely, like, blood. You see, like, a little bit of the intestines. I'm like, oh, they're taking a little bit.
Yeah, like, throughout the whole movie, there's quite a bit of blood.
Yeah,
for
and,
a
like,
PG-13 movie.
because they were so confident with Deadpool, they just needed some of that, you know, like, violence factor.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that this movie sucks from Deadpool, it thinks it can get away with being meta with that joke. They're returning from a movie, Return of the Jedi. For no reason, this is part of the pacing issues with this movie. Like, this scene did not need to be in there at all. They inserted this for laughs. They're watching Return of the Jedi. They leave the theater. And they're talking about how, like, the first one was great and the second one was even better. And then Jean, I swear to God, she looks at the audience and says, well, we can all agree that the third one is the worst. I'm like, I looked at Tarek and I'm like, that was the least subtle thing in this movie.
But it's okay, because it's Jean.
Yeah, he's in love with Jean. I'm in love with Psylocke. I have loved me some Psylocke since I was 3 years old. She was so sexy in this movie. I think she might have been my favorite thing in this movie. It was just every time she was on screen, I was really happy to look at her and not everything else going on. Positives of the movie. I think Sophie Turner's an amazing Jean Grey. I think she was really great.
Yeah, I agree.
I think most of the actors, especially Michael Fassbender, he does a great job as Magneto again.
James McAvoy as Professor X, they both do a wonderful job.
Yeah, they always do a great job, I think.
They've been doing it for I don't know how many years.
I kind of look like Voldemort. Hold on, let me see if I can do something about that. I've seen that in a lot of... There's really nothing I can do about that, so... Yeah, he gives a great performance as Professor X. Cyclops was great when he was on screen. I thought the Horsemen of the Apocalypse were pretty cool to look at when they were on screen, for the moments that they were on screen. And then the movie just looks great, but I think next to Psylocke, the best character in this movie has got to be Quicksilver.
He steals the show in this movie again.
Yeah, like, you know, they, like, when Days of Future Past came out and everyone was talking about how cool Quicksilver was, they're like, all right, do that again in this movie, even if it feels a little shoehorned in. But it was all right because it was entertaining to see, you know, him. I think it might have been even cooler than the one in Days of Future Past.
I think it was. It was like longer too.
Yeah, it was a lot longer. And like technically there was 2 of them. The first one I loved, and the second one I absolutely fucking hated.
Oh, it was when he was fighting Apocalypse.
Yeah, it like slows down and he punches him in the face and Apocalypse just flies. I'm like, oh god.
He's punching him more until like he finally stops him, and
Yeah.
yeah.
And I was happy Apocalypse stopped him. I'm like, don't make that how he gets defeated, please.
True. I really like Quicksilver, but don't.
Other positives of the movie.
Let's look. I wrote down a few notes, so let's see if they're.
Yeah, we took some notes about it.
Wolverine cameo.
Yeah, despite it feeling shoehorned in, it was pretty cool, like what they did with it, because I totally believe they're setting up. I believe it's going to be Old Man Logan, you know, for Wolverine 3. So I can kind of get behind what they did with this movie. However, minority here. I did not want Wolverine to be in this movie, at least Hugh Jackman.
Really?
Honestly, yeah. And I'm probably the only person in the world that's going to say this.
Yep.
I would have, if they were going to really have Wolverine in this movie, I would have preferred to see a new actor. Because why not? If they're going to have an entire movie with this new cast, why not introduce the new Wolverine and have everyone love it, and then have Wolverine 3, you know, still happen with that.
I get what you mean,
Mhm.
but I have to disagree.
You know, to set up Old Man Logan and everything, I can forgive it for having Hugh Jackman. But if you're really not going to have Patrick Stewart in it, if you're not going to have any of the original cast, you should let go of Hugh Jackman. Because he's not going to do Wolverine anymore after Wolverine 3, I think.
Yeah, true. He said he's thinking about retiring that role. So.
Yeah, and that'd have been a perfect opportunity to introduce the new Wolverine, especially in his yellow suit. That'd have been so cool to see. But, you know, Old Man Logan, I'm not going to complain about. He's ferocious as hell in this movie.
I know, right? Like, he was cutting people up, killing a bunch of people. Like, what we brought up earlier, there was a lot of blood.
Yeah, and
throughout
this
the
makes
movie.
me really excited to see an R-rated Wolverine movie.
Yeah, like, it reminded me of, like, X-Men Origins Wolverine when he was, like, cutting people up, and it was, like, not the movie, the video game.
Yeah.
By the way. 'Cause that game is bloody as hell. You played it, right?
Yeah, that was like one of the few video games I've ever played that, like, based off of a movie that I've liked more than the movie.
Same. It was...
And it's not that bad of a superhero game, but I digress. Nightcrawler, I love Nightcrawler in this movie. He was one of my favorite X-Men characters, my favorite from X2. It was nice to see him brought back.
Mm-hmm. You know, there's quite a bit of, like, comedy in this movie.
Yeah,
Like-
both intentional, which works, and very, very unintentional, which is kind of just sad to see.
Like,
This isn't a spoiler or anything, but because, like, it's given away in the trailer, Magneto's family dies.
Mhm.
How they fucking die, we laughed our asses off, and that's a common theme with these. Like, what is it about moments that are supposed to be sad that we just laugh our asses off? Like, you know, like these German police or like Polish police, they're in Poland.
yeah,
right?
they're in Poland.
Yeah,
so
these
it'd be
Polish police officers, you know, take Magneto's daughter, who I wanted to think was Scarlet Witch. The more I think about it, I didn't really know if it was. She has some kind of power she can't control, and she's a kid, but it's probably not Scarlet Witch. But she starts, you know, controlling these crows,
Mm-hmm.
and the crows start attacking the officers, and one is holding a bow and arrow, and he's looking the other way, and he's looking like a total dumbass, like looking at these birds, and he just shoots an arrow, and it hits her. It's the Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Gwen Stacy all over again. It just slows down while she's...
It goes like through the daughter and into the mother, and they both die. I'm sorry.
It was funny. It was funny.
It was unintentionally, but
Speaking of Magneto, every moment that in this movie that Magneto is in is like the real dramatic and emotional part of this movie, because like every scene, like he's like, you just want to feel so bad for him, but at the same time the movie's not good enough to have an emotional connection to him, and I think that's where this movie really, really struggles. Do you think we're ready to talk about the stuff in this movie that's bad?
Let me look at my notes and see if.
Yeah,
There's
look at mine
anything.
too. I sent them to you.
Okay, Jennifer Lawrence. Oops, I'll save that for later. Almost said it.
I wonder what we think of Jennifer Lawrence.
Jean Grey is hot. I already said that, and you already said that. I guess back to the comedy. Quicksilver has some funny moments. Professor Xavier, when he's with that one chick, I forgot.
Oh,
her name.
McTaggart.
Being super awkward around her.
Yeah, like she like has her memory erased, and that leads to some pretty funny moments.
Mhm. But other than that, I think we covered most of the stuff we liked. Just
For a movie called X-Men Apocalypse, I hated Apocalypse in this movie. Like, I'm not kidding. I think it's one of the worst, especially with one of my favorite characters in all of comic book history. To see what they put in this movie just broke my heart, to be honest. There are scenes I think he's fine in, but that's all he's ever. That's his best. Is just fine. It's nothing against Oscar Isaacs. I had full faith in him. It's just this movie did not make him what he should have been.
I think I get what you mean. I think they didn't make him seem powerful enough for a god that's.
It's just like Age of Ultron. It's not an age of what he's trying to do to destroy the world. It's like a brief moment. And when I saw, it's like in the third act when shit starts going down, like Apocalypse's plan starts falling into place. And that's all this movie is his plan. He doesn't really do anything other than recruit his horsemen. His horsemen do all the work at the nearest end of the movie. And then finally when he does step in to, like, you know, confront Professor X, you know, it's over so quickly, and Professor X isn't even the one to save him, it's Jean Grey. And we see her Phoenix, and I just looked and I'm like, it's over.
Mhm.
It's over. It wasn't Last Stand kind of wasted, but Apocalypse was... There's so much missed opportunity with him, and it actually kind of made me upset. He's shorter than his horseman. You know, how do you do that? How do you take this gigantic, you know, powerful mutant and just reduce him so much? You know, do that CGI shit that you did in Professor X's, you know, not the cerebral part, but when he's going inside of Apocalypse's mind, he grows.
Mhm.
That could have been him the entire movie, just that size. And you had him shorter than everyone. I think the only thing worse in this movie, character-wise, than Apocalypse was fucking Mystique.
Yeah.
She was bad in this movie.
That disappointed me because this is coming from Jennifer Lawrence, who is.
She's a great actress. Like,
Yeah.
I like her in most of what she's in. Like, I didn't like Hunger Games that much, but usually she doesn't disappoint. She just... I don't want to say she was phoning it in, but she just... It's like they shot, you know, her dialogue once, and she was just really bored that day, and she was like, oh, I don't want to do this again, and they never did a retake.
Yeah.
Just every line she delivered, it was so effortless. Like, especially there's one time, like, Quicksilver admits to her that Magneto's his father, and she, I swear to God, she's like, what?
It's like in Family Guy Star Wars. It's like, Luke, I am your father. And Chris is like, what?
Like, no, I mean, like, at least that had some emotion to it. She's literally just reading her lines, and I'm glad that they didn't make Jennifer Lawrence out to be the star of this movie, like a lot of people were worried about. I don't know if you guys can see me okay, hold on. Yeah, like a lot of people were worried that she was going to be what everyone would want. And then I'm glad that that's not how it was, because the entire movie would have been boring if that's how... If she delivered if she delivered every line like she did in this movie, if she were the star, it would be as lifeless as Fantastic Four. And I'm not kidding. And the biggest reason why she sucks in this movie She was all about like mutant and proud in
In like the previous X-Men movies.
yeah, in Days of Future Past. She was proud to be a mutant, but like I swear to God, in this movie, every time she's on screen, they try and make her Jennifer Lawrence's face as much as they can instead of Mystique.
I think she was only Mystique like 3 times in the whole movie.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if someone said throughout this entire movie, however long it is, it's not like 2 hours or something.
Yeah, 2 hours.
She might have been Mystique for 3 minutes total of that entire movie.
I'd say pretty close.
It was ridiculous. And Jubilee's got nothing to do in this movie. She's completely wasted. She speaks one time in this movie. And, like, the dialogue relates nothing to what's happening, like, story-wise. You know, she's in, like, very little scenes. And the scene she is in, she's just looking at someone talking. There was no reason to put Jubilee in this movie if you're not going to do anything. And I don't know if it's because she had more lines originally and they just got cut, you know, for the theater release, but how are you going to include like all these characters
and give them like barely anything to do?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why this movie feels so bloated. Like it has pacing issues. It's really slow, especially in the beginning, but this movie does feel bloated a lot. Especially when scenes jump back and forth between
like Magneto, between Xavier, between Mystique, and
between the heroes and the villains. Like there's no like consistency in terms of like scene to scene. Everything just feels like it's jumping around, which is a common complaint in Batman v Superman, but I think it's especially apparent in here that the pacing is worse. Because at least for Batman v Superman, you could argue like it's supposed to be like a graphic novel, like panel for panel. But here it's Bryan Singer who did, you know, X2. He did the original X-Men. Those had, you know, really, really nice pacing. And to see it like this is just disappointing. I don't want to say this movie's bad because it's not. It's just very disappointing.
I was hoping it would be so much better, especially coming off from some very impressive X-Men movies.
Yeah, Days of Future Past, like, even though I didn't personally, like, think it was the best movie in the world, I won't deny it's a good quality movie. But if you were to ask me, the only ones worth watching are the first X-Men movie and X2. You don't have to watch any of them else. You can watch First Class if you really want to. It's just not necessary. I think so far Deadpool is the best X-Men movie we have. Who should have been in this movie? If you're going to try and be meta movie, Fox, how are you going to fuck this up? How are you going to totally not use Deadpool in this movie when you're going to have a fourth wall breaking joke? How are you going to waste your one
F-bomb with Magneto instead of Deadpool?
Who the fuck are you? Like, I was so upset that there was no Deadpool in this movie. And that's not because I'm a fanboy. I am a fanboy. Fox, how are you going to not use Deadpool? Everyone loves Deadpool. You have a character that everyone will love to see in an X-Men movie. How are you going to have a fourth wall breaking joke and not use Deadpool in it? Because that does not work. You can't have Jean Grey break the fourth wall. That has to be Deadpool.
Well, you can.
No, you can't. I was so upset that they didn't take advantage of Deadpool. Like, you're gonna have Wolverine, you're gonna have Hugh Jackman kind of shoehorned in this movie, and you're not gonna at least have Deadpool, like, to get another genuine laughter. Like, that would have made me so happy to see. And a lot of people, I bet. I liked Storm, I liked Psylocke a lot. I liked Magneto. I liked Angel. They all took no effort to turn on Apocalypse.
I know. It felt like, because Apocalypse spent so much time getting all of these people for his four horsemen.
Yeah, he spent a lot of time, a lot of movie time, building up to this event in the third act, and then it's like over with in maybe 20 minutes. And I was just really upset that it not only didn't last longer, but even like the damage that Apocalypse's horsemen did cause. You know, you see it around the world, but there's really nothing lost.
Right.
You know, for Apocalypse, who's supposed to be you know, this destroyer and everything, to see this world still unaffected pretty much sucks. Before we get into, I think, spoilers, what are you going to give this movie? Because I think we've covered everything, pretty much.
I got one more thing to say, alright?
Yeah, I think I know what it is.
Yes. It's right in the beginning of the movie, and it has to do with Cyclops. So he's like in the back, and they're talking about Magneto being Magneto destroying Washington D.C., trying to kill the president, whatever. And Cyclops is in the back going, "Ah, my eyes, my eyes, my eyes," and he's like this, and some jock or whatever, so he's like, "Hey, you winking at my girlfriend?"
I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I wink at girls like that. And so
like a kid with Tourette's. Like that's what I would assume he has is Tourette's. Not that he's. Are you winking at my girl? Like who the fuck says that?
And so he asks to be excused, and he does. He goes in the bathroom, and then this boyfriend or whatever, he follows him into the bathroom. He's like, "Hey, open up," because he's like hiding in a stall or whatever. He opens his eyes, and then like he shoots the stall, and he hits him with the stall, and like he doesn't die.
Yeah, he gets crushed on the wall with like the stall door and like the wall. Like this random like this normal person, he just gets squished like a bug, and then we see, oh, he's fine. Like, no, he's fucking dead.
He is.
Dude.
Like in the first X-Men movie, Cyclops shot a Sabretooth with his laser eyes, and he died. And he was a mutant, but when he shoots a normal guy, he's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
minor nitpick, but it bothered me so much.
Yeah. Even though the other people in the theater were a little annoying, there was a little group of girls that were pretty annoying.
You're right.
They like looked at us like when we were laughing at that, like, will you just shut up? And I'm like, fuck you guys.
You guys have been annoying as hell throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
They were talking, they were yelling, they were kicking the chair like 20 times throughout the whole movie.
Yeah. If X-Men movies don't improve after this, like, exponentially, I'm ready for them to return home to Marvel. I think Fox has done a great job with some of the movies. With Deadpool, they can hold on to, but if they're all going to be this quality, I think I'd rather see them at home with Marvel.
Then, like, Avengers and X-Men get together.
Yeah. What are you giving this movie out of 10, Terry?
I think I'm going to give it a 7.
7.
And that's being very generous.
Question is, do I suck your dick and agree with it, or do I take the pit into dropping this from a Redbox rental into an ugly orgasm? I don't think it's good enough to be, a Redbox rental, but I don't think it's bad enough to be an ugly orgasm. So just for the sake of being generous, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. So I agree with you, Tarek.
7 out of 10.
This movie is a Redbox rental. See it in theaters, definitely. Get your own opinions about it. And check it out when it comes out on Redbox and Netflix and everything. We're not sponsored by it. I don't make money from this.
We just do it for fun.
Yeah. I think that's all the time we have here because it's like almost 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. I recommend checking it out, especially if you really like the X-Men movies, but just don't expect, like...
Yeah, go in with lowered expectations with this. It's nothing amazing. I think at best it's entertaining, and at worst it's disappointing.
Yeah, I'd agree there.
So thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace. Essex Corpse. Corp. My bad.
Corporation, yeah.
Corporation, not corpse. Fucking necrophilia stuff. No. The end credit scene pretty much confirms that Cable is coming, and we're probably going to see some kind of form of my favorite X-Men villain of all time, Mr. Sinister. I'm so excited for that.
Just hope they don't butcher him, right?
Oh, yeah. That kind of leads me to this. I know it's not a spoiler, but
Shit.
This movie is sort of predictable, honestly. Like, you know exactly how it's gonna end. Apocalypse is defeated. You know, his horsemen turn on him.
Yeah, very quickly.
It's somewhat of a happy ending and everything. Mystique, I guess, is in charge of the X-Men, or like the new X-Men.
Mm-hmm. I thought I was actually hoping Mystique would die, like when she transformed into Psylocke and like slashed Apocalypse's throat, and he like
Yeah.
grabs her. But no, only the bad guys die in these kind of movies.
Yeah.
Well, except for the brother. I guess he died too.
Yeah, the first Quicksilver scene is caused by Cyclops' brother. You know, he shoots like a laser into like this. Was it a furnace? It was something, and it causes like an explosion, and then time stops, and you see Quicksilver like, ooh, we can save people, and that's like the best scene in the movie, I think.
It really is. Like, it wasn't really needed, but it's there and it's great.
Just like in Days of Future Past, it was a scene that they knew that they needed to have in order to have like some good scenes in this
Yeah.
movie, but it was a really well made scene, and I liked it a lot.
Mhm.
I think the best moments in this movie are on par with like, you know, Civil War and Batman v Superman, but I think the worst moments in this movie are just as bad as Last Stand.
Last Stand.
I don't want to say Fantastic Four because there's
No,
nothing
that's-
in this movie as bad as Fantastic Four.
That's too low. Yeah, way too low.
Yeah. Really, there's not much to spoil in this movie.
Not really. Like,
Cerebro gets destroyed
mhm.
because Apocalypse starts using Professor X's ability to connect with everyone to send a message of, you know, the destruction of the world. So Cyclops' brother has to destroy Cerebro, and I don't know if that gets, you know, solved or not, fixed, but
Mhm.
I thought that was interesting to see. And I loved how Cerebro looked. Like, it was really cool, like, especially him going through, like, all minds and stuff. You see all consciousness floating and everything. It was really interesting to see. And stuff like that is what I'm looking forward to seeing in Doctor Strange.
Mhm. Doctor Strange.
Really, the only thing to spoil is the end credit scene because everything happens, everything resolves.
It's kind of just what you would expect, really.
Apocalypse is defeated, the Horsemen join the X-Men. The X-Men is brought back after Days of Future Past when they were eliminated. I still hate how Beast looks. I'm sorry. Like, I think he's the actor who plays him. I think he's fine. I hate how he looks. It's just as bad as the Lizard from Amazing Spider-Man.
I don't think it's that bad, but